Hello, I'm Matthew Mosquera, and I chose the topic of genetically modified organisms. Now, I chose this topic, why? Well, because it affects us all. We've probably eaten some, we've definitely eaten some, we've heard about it, and often people will debate about it. They'll debate on various topics upon the matter, and what is fact and what is myth? And that is what I'm here to explore today. I've been interested in the topic, so I've been interested in the various foods, the science, and the technology that impacts our lives, and GMOs falls right under all three of those. Now, GMOs are in our everyday foods, and yet people don't really know about them. They don't really know what they are. So, I wanted to learn the truth behind it and the benefits and some of the controversial ideas behind the entire idea. Now, in order to discuss this, we have to know what a GMO is. Well, a GMO is a genetically modified organism, and they are living things that have their DNA altered in a lab. Unlike traditional breeding, GMOs are created using high precision tools that change one or two genes. Now, as I said before, they are just changed in a lab using genetic engineering. Humans have bred plants and animals for centuries, all right? So modern day GMOs, like I said again, is they use precision technology, so very advanced technology to insert or remove these genes. Very, very high-tech stuff. Now, as you can see here, GMOs have been increased exponentially. They've been increasing in the use every day in our everyday lives since the years 1996 to 2014. This is the chart right here. Now, how are these GMOs made, you might ask? Very simple answer to a very complicated matter. They use a process called recombinant DNA technology, all right? And so what that does is it takes a gene from one organism and it will insert it into another. Now, it gives us many different things, and some of those various attributes that it will give you is just special abilities to resisting pests or higher yield in the crop, or some animals might be stronger or healthier or whatever that is. DNA recombinant technology will most likely do that in various processes. It's a very useful gene. They'll usually take those useful genes and insert it into a targeted organism. Example, a gene from bacteria is added to corn to make it pest resistant. Very good, because it will just keep all those pests away without having the use of pesticides or any other very harmful chemicals that could be impactful to us or the environment. Common GMO crops. Well, you've probably eaten crops today, let alone GMO crops. Now, some of those crops include corn, soybeans, anything soy pretty much in the US has been genetically modified. These crops are built to grow in tough conditions and reduce the need for pesticides. Corn, soybeans, cotton, sugar beets are common modified organisms and crops. About 90% of corn in the United States has been genetically modified. That's a pretty big number. GMO crops are designed to grow faster, longer, and resist pests and disease. That is very helpful for us because without that, we will be eating some bad stuff. All right. GMO animals. GMO salmon grow faster and reach a market size quicker. So these are one of the common animals that they're best known to be modified. Now, that's one of them. The other one is mice. Researchers understand diseases like cancer and diabetes due to mice being tested on and genetically modified. So, some animals are developed for food, others are for research. Salmon, as you can probably tell, is used for food, and mice are more of research. Now, this picture here shows you kind of the size of the salmon, this really big genetically modified salmon here, and this smaller one on the bottom here. Now, this one's a regular salmon, this top one is the genetically modified salmon. So now you kind of get a picture of how big the genetically modified salmon is and how small the regular salmon is. So, of course, me being a foodie, I would prefer the bigger salmon because I want more food. I don't want a small fish, all right? So, they've been doing it for years. They've altered and made the fish bigger. Very helpful for, feeding people, feeding more massive people. Very helpful. All right, we'll be looking at the benefits of GMOs now. Higher crop yield means more food with less land. That's big because we won't be seeing as much farm equipment used. Farmers will have an easier job, if you will. Pest-resistant crops will reduce the need for chemical pesticides. Instead of putting these harmful chemicals on our crops, we'll just be now taking a gene from certain organisms and put it onto these plants to kill off the bugs without affecting us, right? GMOs can be improved shelf life and nutritional value big. We won't be wasting food anymore. We'll be keeping it on the shelf longer, means more food for everybody, all right? We won't be wasting any of that. So it allows farmers to grow more with fewer resources, fewer pesticides, nutrients in some foods, all things we've covered here. Better for the environment and it's better for the consumers, right? It's better for us. So that's what we're looking for in this stuff. So environmentally, GMOs can help. Less pesticide spray, like we covered earlier, means fewer chemicals in nature. Higher yielding crops can reduce deforestation. That is also very big. So it's not a perfect solution, but it's part of a greener future. Reduced pesticides means fewer toxins in the soil and water. Like I said, environmentally, that is great because now you won't have other animals eating those plants. With pesticides on them, you'll have like actual animals with no bugs. You don't want our cows eating that. You don't want our chickens eating that. We want pure animals. We want something that's going to be eating healthy foods. We're eating healthy foods as well. GMO crops can help with preserving biodiversity by using less farmland. You won't see as many trucks coming through, tractors coming through, trucks to cut down trees to make land. You won't be seeing that anymore because GMO crops will be bigger and in more quantity. So some of the GMOs will be reducing greenhouse gases, as I mentioned before, emissions from the farming. It all boils down, trickles down. Of course, there are many other factors that they will play into environmentally, but those are one of the big ones. So we can't look at the benefits without understanding the risks and possible concerns. So there are some real concerns too. Some fears of allergens could be introduced accidentally due to these genetically modified organisms. Others about genetically modified genes spreading into wild plants or ethical boundaries that might be crossed. So we're provided with the ethical question: are we changing nature too much? It's a very, very interesting question because the answer could go two ways. Yes, we are, but no, we're not, right? Gene transfer to non-GMO species in the wild. This could be harmful or helpful in a sense. You want to help more plants be, immune to bugs, or that your crops will be immune to bugs. But you don't want it to start developing mutations because they are crossbreeding in a certain way. It's very, very important that we understand the future of GMOs because the future is very exciting. The future of GMOs is even more exciting, right? Imagine rice that can cure blindness, or bananas that can carry vaccines. These innovations could save lives, especially in areas where access to medicine is limited. Third world countries that need medicine, we can send over genetically modified plants that can help them medicinally. That's very, very good. So golden rice is engineered to provide vitamin A to fight blindness. That's amazing already. So crops may be engineered to survive droughts or poor soil. Again, in a third world country, that is amazing because you have these crops that will survive during droughts, saving or helping the people that are going through that drought or that poor soil. And so GMOs may one day include built-in medicines or vaccinations. That's amazing, right? We're always looking forward to the future with medicine. Now, the public's perception does change things a little bit, right? Many people are still skeptical about GMOs. A lot of fear comes with myths, media headlines, not facts. They don't come with facts, right? That's why the science communication is very important, right? Science community always needs to be able to tell people the truth, accurate and informational facts. Public opinion is mixed, often based with limited information, if any information at all, right? Social media can spread myths or fears, like I mentioned before, about GMOs, changing people's minds on the matter completely. So that's why we need transparency, education. There are two concepts that are key to building trust, and that's when scientists need to come in and be able to tell the truth, but be very informational about it. With strong regulations and ongoing research, two very important things that will keep this very successful. Pros: higher yields on crops, less pesticides, better nutrition. These three things will help crops be healthier, more abundant for the world, and also help with some of the economical downturns that we might have in the future. So, now the cons, on the other hand, are allergic reactions, genetic contamination, or ethical debates. Those three things do tick down on GMOs very heavily. So, I believe that we can turn that around with regulations and ongoing research. Those two things will, like I said, be beneficial for GMOs. All right, and we have the summary now. To sum it up, GMOs are powerful tools that, when used responsibly, can make a healthier planet, can support a healthier planet. I believe they should be grown, but only with continued research and safety checks. The safety checks, usually by the FDA, the USDA, must be performed with a lot of precision, but also they have to be very consistent. You know, you want to see these checks being done very regularly and done with very professionalism. So, GMOs help feed more people with fewer resources. We talked about this. We covered how third world countries can be, supported by these GMOs coming in and kind of giving them medicinal help and helping them farm easier. There's real concerns, but many of them being studied and addressed can be resolved. So, like I mentioned earlier, these safety checks and different research plans should be able to assist in covering and fixing these concerns. So, with proper oversight, GMOs should be grown. Very simple, very easy. It might not be so easy to control or to do the research into it, but it must be done in order to be able to help our economy and help our people. All right, so before I wrap it up, here are two questions for you, the audience, to think about. I'd love to hear your opinions during this discussion. Question one, considering the benefits and potential risks, would you be willing to eat a genetically modified animal? Why or why not? That's up to you. I know I would. I mentioned I'm a foodie, so you'll find me eating that fish. Number two, should all GMO products be labeled for consumers? Why or why not? Also, I think it's important that you understand that the FDA and the USDA has been kind of cracking down on this. So these two questions are for you to answer. Of course, your answers will be very different from each other, so don't feel that you need to debate over them, but that's kind of the question. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for letting me explain all these wonderful and great things. And then these are my citations here. So last but not least, here are my sources I used for this presentation. All are very scientifically reliable and cited in APA format. National Geographic Society down to Purdue University OWL. It's all done, and as you can see, it's all done. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a good one.